Peter took a step back, his breath catching as though the room itself had collapsed inward. His eyes flicked between Amanda and his mother, trying to piece together a reality that was shattering faster than he could understand. Amanda, it was her name this time, not the invented one he had worn like a costume years ago. This time, it carried weight. Recognition. Memory. Guilt. Amanda stood straight, back unyielding, chin lifted with a quiet strength that did not tremble this time. She had practiced this moment in her mind for years, only she had imagined yelling or crying or collapsing. Instead, all she felt was a deep, steady ache, the one that had lived in her chest since the night he disappeared. "No," she corrected softly. "Don't say my name like you didn't choose to forget it." The silence that followed felt like a blade balanced delicately between all three of them. Vanessa's voice broke the tension, calm yet edged like polished steel. "Peter, sit down." He didn't. His shock held him upright, motionless. "How, when," he tried, but the words tripped over each other. "Why are you here? How did you?" Amanda inhaled slowly, her fingers clasping to still their trembling. "I needed a job. I didn't know this house was yours. I didn't even know your real name. I walked in and saw your portrait. That's how." Peter stared at her, a muscle in his jaw twitching, but his voice was barely above a whisper. "I never lied to you. I didn't want to be." "What?" Amanda cut in. "Held responsible? Known? Real?" The question hung like smoke. Peter flinched, just slightly. No, his voice was strained, quiet. "I didn't want to be myself then." Amanda felt the sting behind her ribs, not because the answer surprised her, but because she had once understood that loneliness too well. Vanessa stepped forward, her gaze cold in a controlled way only a woman who had learned to survive great loss could manage. "Peter." Before anything else, she said slowly, with clarity sharp enough to fracture the floor under them, "You have a daughter." Peter froze. The words did not land, they detonated. The echo of them filled the room. He turned his head toward Amanda, but this time, the shock was gone. He looked like a man who already knew the truth, but had not wanted to name it. "Her name is Luna," Amanda said. "She's 4. She looks exactly like you." A long silence followed. Peter closed his eyes. Not dramatically, but like a man standing in the center of a hurricane, searching for balance and finding none. He lowered himself into the nearest chair, elbows on his knees, hands covering his face. Amanda had seen him laugh, tease, whisper, touch softly, kiss with reverence she once believed was love. She had never seen him look small. Vanessa's composure cracked a fraction. She moved to stand behind her son, one hand resting on his shoulder, not to comfort, but to steady. "You should have told me you were struggling back then," she murmured. "You should have told me instead of running away." Peter didn't look up. "Dad was dead, Mom. The company was collapsing under pressure. I had board members waiting to tear me apart. I was drowning. I didn't," his voice cracked, one raw fracture of emotion he tried to contain. "I didn't want to drag someone else into the downfall." Amanda swallowed hard. She hadn't expected tenderness to strike her, but it did. Painfully. "You think leaving me alone with a pregnancy was protection?" she asked quietly. Peter lifted his gaze, and the regret in it was sharp enough to wound. "No. It was cowardice." There it was. The truth between them. Finally spoken. Amanda's heartbeat skidded to a stop. Vanessa stepped around the desk to face them both. Her voice softened in a way neither expected. "Luna will be arriving here tomorrow morning at 10. I've invited her to spend the day in the garden. I want Peter to meet her then." Amanda nodded slowly, her throat tight. Peter blinked. "Wait, she's coming here?" "Yes," Vanessa replied. "And you will be present. You will look at her. You will see her. And then," her tone did not waver, "we decide what happens next." The decision was not a suggestion. It was law. And it was right. Peter exhaled, shaky. Okay. Amanda nodded. Okay. But something else lingered. Something unsaid. Peter stood slowly, turning to Amanda. I never forgot you, he said softly. Amanda's breath trembled, but her glare did not soften. That doesn't change what you did. No, he admitted. It doesn't. He stepped back, giving her space, respecting the invisible border she had drawn around herself. You don't have to forgive me. Not today. Maybe not ever, he said quietly. But I want to know her. I want to know my daughter. Amanda studied him, the man she had loved, the man who had broken her, and the man who now stood in front of her not as a ghost, but as something painfully real. And she whispered the only truth she had. We'll see. Amanda left the library first, needing air, needing space, needing something solid beneath her feet. The mansion hallway was quiet, polished, perfect, too perfect. Her chest tightened. She walked outside, past the manicured hedges and the marble fountain, to the edge of the garden where roses climbed trellises like red flames. She stopped there, breathing in the warm California air. She had imagined this moment 1,000 times. None of those versions had felt like this. She thought the rage would consume her. But instead, there was a strange, hollow quiet. Something unresolved, unfinished, suspended. A presence approached behind her. Vanessa. The older woman stood beside her, hands clasped neatly. You were strong in there, Vanessa said. Not many could hold themselves together like that. Amanda took a breath. I wasn't holding myself together. I was holding myself from falling apart. That too, Vanessa murmured. The garden wind rustled through magnolia leaves. I don't know what happens next, Amanda admitted. No one does, Vanessa replied. But the child will guide us. Children always do. They reveal who we are. Amanda nodded, tears burning but not falling. Luna is everything, she whispered. Vanessa's eyes glistened, a rare vulnerability. I already know, she said. I saw it the moment she stepped into this house. The way she looked around, not afraid, not impressed, simply curious. She carries strength she doesn't yet understand. Amanda's voice broke. She deserves stability. She deserves love. She deserves truth. And she will have it, Vanessa promised. I assure you. Silence fell between them, soft now, not sharp. You should go home and rest, Vanessa finally said gently. Tomorrow will change everything. Amanda nodded, turning to leave. But Vanessa called her name softly. Amanda? She turned back. I am truly sorry, Vanessa said quietly. For the years you carried alone. Amanda's breath caught. Thank you, she whispered, because it was real. She walked away. Inside, Peter stood alone in the library, staring at a bookshelf but seeing nothing. His hands trembled the first time he let them. He whispered to the empty room. I have a daughter. His voice broke. And the portrait of him on the wall watched silently, an echo of the man he once was, and no longer could be. Tomorrow, he would meet Luna. Tomorrow, everything would begin. And nothing would ever be the same. Morning arrived softly at the Albright estate, the kind of morning that seemed to float rather than unfold, quiet, golden, and full of unspoken expectation. The sun filtered through pale curtains, touching every surface with delicate warmth, but inside Amanda's small apartment in Englewood, the morning felt far heavier. Amanda sat on the edge of her bed watching Luna sleep. Her little girl's hair curled gently around her cheeks, soft breaths rising and falling like the tide. There was peace here, a sanctuary. A moment suspended outside of time. And yet, today, everything was about to change. Amanda's fingers brushed a stray curl from Luna's forehead. My baby, she whispered, voice trembling though she fought to keep it steady. Today, you will meet him. She had always imagined telling Luna who her father was when she was older, when the understanding could be gentle, gradual, controlled. But life rarely asked permission. Luna stirred, eyelids fluttering. When her eyes opened, those unmistakable hazel green eyes, they looked up at her mother with unquestioning trust. "Mommy," she mumbled sleepily. "Are we going somewhere today?" Amanda swallowed the ache forming in her throat. "Yes, sweetheart. We're going to the house with the big garden again. Remember?" Luna's sleepy face lit up. "With the pretty flowers and the lady who gave me juice and cookies?" Amanda nodded. "Yes. Her name is Vanessa." Luna sat up, hair wild, smile effortless. "I like her." Amanda exhaled. "Good. That mattered." "Then we'll go," Luna said simply, because to her, the world was still small, safe, and held by her mother's hands. Amanda kissed her forehead. "Yes, baby. We'll go." At 9:58 a.m., Amanda walked through the iron gates with Luna's hand held tightly in hers. The gardens glowed under the morning sun, fountains sparkling like polished silver. The scent of fresh jasmine hung in the air, soft, calming, but Amanda's heartbeat remained unsteady. Vanessa was waiting on the veranda, not dressed in formal elegance this time, but in soft linen and flat shoes. Simpler. Human. Her expression softened the moment she saw Luna. "Hello, sweetheart," she said gently, crouching to eye level. "I'm so happy you came back." Luna smiled shyly. "Hi." Vanessa's eyes glistened, not dramatically, but in a way that revealed what she had been holding quietly all her life. A longing. A gap in her heart she had never known existed. She stood and looked at Amanda. "Peter is in the garden. He's been waiting." Amanda felt her knees weaken, but she didn't allow it to show. She squeezed Luna's hand. "Ready, my love?" "Yes." They walked. With each step, the world seemed to still, not silent, not tense, simply holding breath. At the far end of the garden, near the old magnolia tree, stood Peter. His suit jacket was off, sleeves rolled to his elbows. His posture was rigid, as though he was trying to remain composed, but the tremor in his hands betrayed him. He turned at the sound of footsteps. He saw Amanda first. Then his gaze dropped lower. And he saw her. Luna. The little girl with hazel green eyes. His eyes. Time did not stop, it shattered. Luna tilted her head, observing him with innocent curiosity. She didn't know this man, didn't know the earthquake of meaning behind this moment. But children have instincts adults lose. She took one step forward. Peter's breath caught audibly. Amanda felt her chest tighten painfully. Luna blinked up at him. "Are you the prince?" she asked softly. "From my storybook?" The question broke Peter. Not with violence, but with something far deeper, more devastating, more pure. He dropped to his knees. So they were eye to eye. His voice trembled when he spoke, and he didn't try to hide it. "I don't know if I'm a prince," he whispered, "but I know I would like to be someone special to you." Luna studied his face, her little brows knitting, the same gesture Amanda had seen in the mirror for years. "You have the same eyes as me," she said simply. Peter's voice broke completely. "Yes," he whispered. "We share the same eyes." Luna looked back at her mother, confused but open, trusting. "Mommy?" Amanda stepped forward, her voice a fragile thread. "Luna, this is your father." The world held still. Birds paused in mid-song. Wind paused in mid-breath. The word didn't shatter the air, it sank into it. Luna looked back at Peter. Her father. She blinked once. Then twice. Not fear. Not rejection. Just curiosity blossoming into quiet understanding. "Hi," she said softly. A greeting so simple, yet it carried every universe inside it. Peter let out a breath, not just a breath, but years of grief, guilt, searching, longing, spilling out in silence. His hands shook as he spoke. "Hi, Luna." She hesitated. Then stepped closer. Small hands reached out. Amanda felt tears pierce her eyes. Peter didn't touch her, not yet, he waited. Luna placed her tiny palm against his cheek. Peter closed his eyes. Slowly. Gently. Carefully. Like someone cradling the world. And when he opened them again, his heart was no longer his own. It belonged entirely to her. Luna smiled, satisfied with her observation. You feel warm, she said. Peter laughed, a quiet, broken, healing sound. So do you. Vanessa turned away, a tear slipping down her cheek, the kind of tear mothers only shed when watching something sacred unfold. Amanda's hands trembled, not with fear now, but with a grief that was loosening, uncoiling, releasing its grip. For 5 years, she had carried the weight of 2. Now, she no longer carried it alone. Peter spoke, voice steady now, anchored. Luna, he said softly, would it be all right if I spend time with you today? Luna nodded. We can draw. And look at the flowers. And I have snacks in my bag. He smiled, that same half-tilted smile Amanda remembered, but different now. Older. Truer. Fragile in all the ways that mattered. I would like that, he whispered. Luna took his hand. Not because she understood history. Not because she understood forgiveness. But because children understand hearts. Amanda watched, breath unsteady, as Luna led him deeper into the garden, pointing out butterflies and birds and flowers. Peter listened to every word. Every laugh. Every breath. Like it was oxygen. Vanessa stood beside Amanda, quiet, reverent. This is only the beginning, she said softly. Amanda didn't answer. But her gaze, steady, unbroken, said everything. Yes. The sun climbed lazily over the horizon, casting a soft golden glow across the bustling city. The day felt strangely calm, as if the air itself knew that something important was about to unfold. Amina woke early, her heart full of thoughts she could not place. The memory of the previous night lingered, a night that had started as humiliation but ended in something she could not yet understand. The man they called homeless, the man she had been forced into a blind date with as a joke, had walked away with quiet dignity and a warm smile that had settled deep into her chest. She sat on the edge of her bed for a long moment, fingers intertwined. What kind of man was he, she whispered to herself. Meanwhile, on the other side of the city, Malik, who everyone believed to be a penniless drifter, stood by the massive windows of his penthouse. The city stretched beneath him like a kingdom awaiting his command. But his gaze was far away, fixed not on wealth, but on the memory of her, Amina, her calm voice, her kind eyes, her refusal to laugh at him even when others had. Malik touched the silver ring that hung on a chain around his neck. That girl, he murmured. She saw me. His assistant, Salim, entered silently. The board meeting is in an hour, he said. But also, something else. A video has gone viral. Malik's brow furrowed. What video? Salim handed him a phone. It was the video of that restaurant, the blind date prank posted online for laughs. The girls laughing. The staff staring. The camera zooming in on Malik's threadbare shirt. But something unexpected had happened. The comments were not mocking him. They were defending him. And praising Amina. The girl is humble. She didn't laugh. Respect. The man has dignity. Look at how he carries himself. These rich brats are heartless. I hope real love finds these too. Malik watched quietly, his chest rising slowly, thoughtfully. Sir, Salim said softly, are you still sure you want to hide your identity? Malik didn't answer. His eyes stayed on the screen, on her. At Amina's home. Her aunt stormed into the kitchen, slamming pots as if they had insulted her personally. You embarrassed me, her aunt snapped. You sat with that filthy man and pretended it was normal. Amina kept stirring the porridge calmly. A person's clothes do not measure their worth, she replied. Her aunt let out a bitter laugh. And now your name is all over social media. Do you think any respectable family will want you now? Amina didn't answer. The words hurt, yes, but not because they were true. They hurt because they came from someone she still hoped would love her one day. Just then, someone knocked on the door. 3 slow, steady knocks. Her aunt opened the door and froze. Standing there was a sleek black car, 2 suited men, and a tall, elegant woman with posture sharp as a sword. "Good morning," the woman said calmly. "We are here for Amina." Her aunt blinked in confusion. "For Amina? Why?" The woman stepped forward, handing her a card gilded in gold. "Malik Holdings, private residence." Amina felt her breath catch. Her aunt's face twisted in confusion. What business would a corporation owned by billionaires have with her? The woman smiled, not unkindly. "Our chairman requests her presence." Immediately, Amina's heart began to race. The journey. The car moved smoothly through the city streets, leaving behind dusty markets and crowded buses, climbing into a world of glass towers and guarded gates. Every turn felt unreal. The car entered a private estate so large it felt like its own world: gardens, fountains, a house that looked more like a palace. Amina's breath trembled. This can't be right. The doors opened. Malik stood waiting. Not in torn clothes. Not in dusty shoes. But in a tailored suit that flowed like silk across his frame, confidence resting lightly on his shoulders. Amina froze. Her voice barely came out. "You?" Malik stepped closer, his eyes gentle, not proud, not mocking, just sincere. "My name is Malik Al-Sharif," he said softly. "Owner of this company. Heir to this estate. But none of that is why I called you here." Her heart pounded in her chest. "You looked at me and saw a man, not a joke. Not a disgrace. You treated me with dignity when others did not." His voice was warm with truth. "And a woman who sees a man's soul before his wealth is a rare treasure in this world." Silence settled between them like something sacred. Amina lowered her eyes, overwhelmed. "I didn't do anything special." "No," Malik replied gently, lifting her chin with the softest touch. "You did everything special." A soft breeze moved through the garden. The world seemed to pause. But every story has its shadow. Behind a nearby balcony curtain, someone watched. A sharp-eyed woman, dressed in elegance and jealousy. Layla. Malik's childhood friend, and the one who had always believed she would be his future wife. Her fingers tightened on the curtain fabric. "So this is the girl," she whispered bitterly. "The one who thinks she can walk into my place?" Her eyes glinted with cold fire. "This is far from over." And the storm quietly began to gather. The garden behind Malik's estate stretched outward like a sea of emerald green, dotted with flowers that swayed gently in the morning breeze. The sunlight spilled across the marble pathways, making every stone glimmer as though laid with light itself. Amina stood there, feeling like she had stepped into a world that did not belong to her, a world far too polished, far too bright, far too grand. Malik watched her silently for a moment, giving her time to breathe. He understood the shock. Going from a small, quiet home to a palace-like mansion was not something the heart adjusted to quickly. He approached slowly, his steps quiet. "Are you all right?" he asked softly. Amina nodded, though the truth trembled just beneath her voice. "I don't understand why I'm here." Malik smiled gently. "You are here because you deserve to be treated with respect. And because I wanted to thank you." Her eyes lifted to his, searching, unsure. "Thank me? For what?" "For seeing the human being in me," he replied. A deep silence followed those words. Amina felt something warm and unfamiliar bloom inside her chest. She had always believed that kindness cost nothing, but she had never imagined it would ripple this far. Before she could respond, footsteps approached. From the entrance of the garden came Layla, elegant, poised, her heels clicking like sharp punctuation marks on marble. Her long black hair fell down her back like a glossy waterfall, and her jewelry sparkled as though desperate for attention. "Malik," she called sweetly, but her eyes were sharp when they shifted to Amina. "There you are. I was looking for you."
Malik's face remained calm.
Layla. Layla's gaze flicked over Amina from head to toe, her simple dress, her modest sandals, her gentle posture. A faint smirk appeared at the corner of her lips. So this is the girl from the video, she said, her tone dripping with meaning. Amina lowered her eyes respectfully, but Malik stepped slightly forward, his presence protective.
This is Amina, he said simply.
And she is my guest.
Layla's smile tightened.
Oh, of course, she replied.
Everyone is talking about her.
The kind girl who sat with the poor man.
How touching.
Amina felt the sting beneath those words, gentle in tone, cruel in intention.
Malik's eyes narrowed ever so slightly. Layla, enough.
But Layla only smiled wider, as if his reprimand pleased her.
Well, she said, stepping closer to Amina. Let me welcome you personally to Malik's world.
Her voice dropped, soft, but sharp enough to cut.
It is not kind to everyone.
Amina remained still, refusing to show pain. She knew cruelty when she heard it. She had lived it before. Malik placed a hand on Amina's shoulder, steady, warm, grounding.
Amina will be treated with respect in my home.
Layla blinked, her expression freezing like ice under frost. Of course, she said.
If that's what you want.
But her eyes said something else entirely.
This is war. The inside of the estate.
The halls of the estate were lined with portraits, ancestors in their finest attire, looking down from gilded frames. The ceilings stretched high, adorned with carved patterns and delicate chandeliers. Amina followed quietly as Malik led her, feeling like a fragile pebble in a palace of diamonds.
Come, he said softly. There is someone I want you to meet.
They entered a bright open room overlooking the gardens. Inside sat an elderly woman in a cushioned chair, her posture regal, her eyes wise. She wore a simple shawl, but her presence felt as commanding as royalty. She turned and smiled.
Grandmother, Malik said warmly, this is Amina. Amina felt her hands grow cold.
This was the matriarch, the heart of the family. The old woman studied her gently.
So you are the girl who did not laugh. Amina swallowed and nodded.
The grandmother's smile grew.
Sit with me. Amina sat.
Malik stepped aside to give them space. My grandson has lived his life seeing the world through others' eyes, the grandmother said.
People see his wealth and want something from him.
They see his name and assume they know him. But you, her eyes softened. You looked at him without fear or greed.
Amina lowered her gaze. I only saw someone being mistreated.
It felt wrong. The grandmother nodded slowly.
Compassion is rare. And kindness without motive is rarer still.
She reached out and gently took Amina's hand.
If life leads you to stay near him, I will not stand in the way.
Amina's heart fluttered, but in shock, not desire. She had not come here expecting anything.
She didn't even know what she felt for Malik yet.
She only knew he was a good man behind the masks others tried to force him to wear. Malik stepped forward again, his eyes warm, not triumphant, but grateful.
Thank you, grandmother. The moment was peaceful.
Until a voice interrupted.
Well, Layla said sharply from the doorway. This has been very touching.
But Malik, you promised to review the charity contracts today.
The board is waiting. Malik nodded, professional once more. I'll be there shortly. He turned to Amina. Would you stay for tea before you leave? I'd like to speak with you again. Amina hesitated.
Her world had changed so fast she barely knew where the ground was anymore. I should go home, she said quietly. Malik's face did not fall, but something in his eyes dimmed just slightly. I understand, he replied.
But you will return, I hope. Amina smiled softly. If I am invited. Malik's laughter was gentle. You will always be invited.
Layla's jaw clenched.
The ride home. The same black car took Amina back, escorted by the same woman with the calm expression.
But the ride felt different now, heavier, deeper, as though invisible threads had woven themselves around her life. She stepped out in front of her modest home, and the car drove away silently. Her aunt stood waiting at the doorway, arms crossed.
"Well," she demanded. "What happened?" Amina didn't answer immediately. She needed a moment to breathe. To think. To understand. Her aunt scoffed. "Don't tell me you embarrassed yourself again."
Amina turned slowly, meeting her aunt's eyes, not with anger, but with a quiet strength that had not existed in her before. "I did not embarrass myself," she said softly.
"And I won't let you talk to me like I did." Her aunt blinked, startled. This was not the timid girl she was used to.
Amina walked past her, went to her room, and closed the door. And for the first time in a long while, she let herself sit quietly and simply feel.
At the estate, later that night, Layla stormed into Malik's private study.
"You cannot be serious about her," she snapped.
Malik didn't look up from the document he was reading.
"Layla, I do not owe you an explanation." Layla stepped closer, her voice trembling, not with sadness, but fury.
"I have been by your side my entire life.
I stood with your family through everything.
Everyone expects us to be together."
Malik raised his eyes slowly.
"Everyone except me." Layla's breath caught.
"She's nothing," she whispered. "She comes from nothing.
She has nothing.
She is nothing in our world." Malik's expression remained calm, but his eyes turned cold.
"Then perhaps," he said quietly,
"it is our world that is worth nothing if it cannot recognize a good heart."
Layla's lips parted.
For the first time, she had no words.
Malik stood. "Do not speak of her again unless it is with respect."
And then, gently but decisively, he walked past her. Layla remained still, trembling. Then slowly, her expression twisted, not with defeat, but with calculation. "If kindness is her strength," she whispered to the empty room, "then I will make that kindness her downfall." In that moment, the seeds of conflict took root.
And destiny began to turn.
The evening breeze drifted through the narrow street where Amina lived. The scent of charcoal fires and roasting maize mixed with the sound of laughter from nearby children playing. The sky glowed a soft orange, slowly deepening into purple as night approached. Amina sat on the edge of her bed, her hands resting lightly in her lap. Her heart felt full yet uncertain, as if someone had placed something precious inside her chest but wrapped it in a layer of fear. She had seen many things in life: struggle, unkindness, humiliation, but nothing had prepared her for the quiet sincerity in Malik's eyes. He was wealthy beyond imagination. But he spoke to her like she was the only person in the world. And that terrified her more than anything. Because what if all of this moment, this warmth, was temporary? Her life had taught her that beautiful things often came to break you. She closed her eyes and whispered into the quiet room. "Ya Allah, guide me." Meanwhile, at the estate, Malik stood on the balcony of his study, the city lights stretching below him like a river of stars flowing across the earth. The night wind tugged gently at his shirt sleeves, but he barely felt it. His mind was with her.
Amina.
The girl whose kindness had shifted something inside him. He had spent his entire life surrounded by people who wanted a piece of him, his wealth, his status, his family name. But Amina had given him something no one else had.
Humanity. Salim, his loyal assistant, entered quietly.
"Sir," he said, "there is something you should see." He placed a tablet in Malik's hands. On the screen was a video, a new one.
Amina. Not the one in the restaurant.
This was recorded today. Someone had filmed her getting out of Malik's luxury car in front of her neighborhood.
The comments below were cruel. Gold digger alert rolling on the floor laughing.
She found her bag quick. Using a man for status just like all the others. Malik's jaw tightened, slowly, controlled, but the anger beneath it was deep.
"Find who posted this," he said. Salim nodded. "Layla was seen with her phone near the entrance today." Silence. Cold, sharp, unforgiving.
Malik's voice was quiet when he spoke again. Prepare the car.
Layla's room.
The soft clicks of high heels echoed across marble floors as Layla paced back and forth like a lioness in a cage.
Her expression was thoughtful, not regretful.
She knew exactly what she had done.
And she had no intention of apologizing.
Let him be angry, she whispered to herself.
He will come to his senses.
Her door opened.
Malik stepped in.
But not the gentle Malik from the garden. This was Malik, the heir, the leader, the man who could bend empires with a single decision. Layla felt her throat tighten for the first time.
Malik, I.
Why? He asked quietly.
No raised voice. No rage. Just disappointment so heavy it pulled the air from the room. Layla swallowed. I did nothing wrong. I only revealed the truth. The truth? Malik repeated. She is not like us, Layla snapped.
She does not belong in this world.
She will be eaten alive, Malik.
She will suffer. People will tear her apart.
Malik stepped closer, eyes steady.
And you are helping them tear her first.
Layla's breath hitched, but only for a second.
I am protecting what is ours, she whispered. Malik stared at her for a long moment. Then he said, low and final. There is no ours.
Layla froze. You are my friend, Layla. And I care for you. But you do not own me.
And you do not decide who is worthy of respect.
Layla's eyes burned with unshed fury. So you choose her over me? Malik didn't answer. Because the answer was already written in his silence. The next day, the marketplace.
Amina walked slowly through the market, carrying her woven basket, her scarf pulled around her shoulders. She felt the eyes on her.
Whispers. Hushed laughter. Sideways glances. She heard pieces of conversations float through the air. That's her, the one who went with the billionaire. Watch, she'll change now. Leave ordinary life? Just wait. Amina kept walking.
But her steps felt heavier. The kindness in her heart, the kindness that had always been her strength, felt suddenly exposed. The world around her had changed, but she had not. She stopped at a fruit stall. The vendor, an older woman who had known Amina since childhood, smiled warmly.
My daughter, the woman said gently, people talk when they are unable to understand goodness. Do not let them poison your heart. Amina's eyes softened. Sometimes it is hard not to let their words in. The woman nodded. That is because you are human. But your heart is still your own. Guard it. It is precious. Amina breathed slow, steady. Thank you.
The woman patted her hand.
And remember this, good people are tested the hardest. On the other side of the market. A black car rolled to a stop. People whispered and stepped back. Malik stepped out. Clean. Composed. And unmistakable. He walked directly toward her. The market quieted like the world held its breath. Amina turned and her breath caught. Malik, she whispered. He stopped in front of her, his voice low, warm, filled with a calm strength. You do not have to walk through this alone. Amina swallowed hard. They are already talking. If you stay here with me, it will only get worse. Malik shook his head slowly. I am not leaving.
Amina looked up at him, fear and tenderness tangled in her eyes.
I do not want to be the reason your world turns against you. Malik stepped closer. Close enough that only she could hear his next words. Amina. I have built my world. I own my world. I can burn it down and rebuild it if I choose. His gaze softened, not cruel, not fierce, just deeply, powerfully sincere. But you are the first person who has ever seen me when everything else was gone. Her heart trembled.
And the world around them remained silent. They stood in the quiet center of a storm neither of them had asked for.
But neither stepped back.
watching from the shadows. Layla sat inside her car, hidden behind tinted windows. She saw everything. She saw the way Amina looked at Malik.
She saw the way Malik's presence seemed to anchor Amina.
She saw the way the silent understanding flowed between them. And something inside her cracked.
Not in sorrow,
but in rage.
"Fine," she whispered. "If he wants a gentle girl,
I will show him how easily a gentle heart can be broken." Her eyes glinted like sharpened glass.
This is only the beginning.
The world around them shifted. Lines were drawn.
Alliances formed. Hearts awakened.
And the quiet girl with the soft eyes had unknowingly stepped into a battlefield of wealth, pride, and power.
But destiny does not fear the humble. And love does not bow to the loud. This story was only beginning.